We are live with a flash flood emergency for parts of southeastern Pennsylvania. You can see here we have a number of warnings. The flash flood emergency is this green and white ticked area that includes Columbia, Lancaster, East Petersburg up to Mannheim, Mount Gretna, Clay, Reynolds, Denver, all the way to Adamstown. Catastrophic flash flooding is in progress, and we still have another round of heavy rain that we're expecting to come in behind this. Here, Hallam, York, Loctus, and Glen Rock. This heavy rain, this is also producing a severe thunderstorm warning, but this is a really big story. Catastrophic flash flooding ongoing. This is reported by law enforcement from northern Lancaster County and southeastern Lebanon until 2:45 Eastern for flash flood emergency. Numerous water rescues ongoing. 3 and 5 inches of rain have fallen, with another 1 to 2 inches possible. Flash flooding already occurring. So this is catastrophic flash flooding. So again, there are numerous water rescues in progress. Excuse that. I'm going to quote the National Weather Service and State College directly. A very dangerous situation is unfolding across northern Lancaster and far southeastern Lebanon County this evening. 4 to 5 inches of rain have already fallen, with another 1 to 2 inches expected. Numerous water rescues are ongoing. Turn around, don't drown. This is very significant flooding. Again, this is an emergency. It is a flash flood emergency. That's not something that's thrown around lightly. So again, if you're in Quentin, Clay, Ephrata, Lidditz, Leola, Eden, Lancaster, Columbia, Mountjoy, and Elizabethtown in Pennsylvania, you're in a flash flood emergency. Catastrophic flash flooding is ongoing. If we zoom out a bit more, you can see another localized flood warning for parts of southeastern Pennsylvania. We do have a flood advisory for Erie, special weather statement in upstate New York, and some more flash flooding concerns in central Illinois. Not expecting this to get nearly as bad. This has been a PDS flash flood warning, a considerable flash flood warning for over an hour at this point, and it is just storm after storm is going to go through this area. You can see our next segment of storms in the Carroll Valley, Emmitsburg area. That's going to move northeast with our Boeing segment here. This can produce some heavy rain totals. And I frankly wouldn't be shocked if we saw 4 more inches of rain in this area. This is not something that's thrown around lightly. These are rare high-level flash flood warnings. And again, we're getting a number of videos. This is, again, catastrophic flooding. There's Okay, I believe this just got expanded further north. I may be wrong, but I believe this just got pushed a little further north to include portions of North Cornwall and Shaperstown. There's a lot of Amish in this area. Just a very bad situation. Let's check out the Weather Prediction Center mesoscale discussion. And again, today's only a slight risk. Believe it or not, this wasn't supposed to be a high-end flash flooding event. Here is the mesoscale precipitation discussion at 560. Efficient rainfall production storm scale interactions may support localized 2 to 3 inch totals and possible scattered flash flooding. They aren't wrong. This is quite a bit more than a localized flash flooding. This is catastrophic. If you're in this area, you're saying we're in a lull right now. If you're in Lidditz, you're like it's drizzling. We'll make it through. There is another portion of heavy rain coming in from York and Hallam, and then behind that we have heavy rain coming in from Emmitsburg and Gettysburg, and then even behind that, if we zoom out and probably switch radar sites, you can see that we've got even more moisture here in the Cumberland Valley moving its way in. So this is going to be, we're talking overnight. We're going to see flash flooding well into the overnight here in Southeast Pennsylvania. Okay, we have a new warning. Just wanted to make sure my audio worked there. So, new flash flood warning. This is radar and gauge indicated. It expires in 3 hours. I don't believe this is PDS. Okay, this is not a PDS warning. Doppler radar and automated rain gauges indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain. 1 to 3 inches of rain have fallen, and additional amounts of a half inch to 2 inches are possible. So we have a flash flood warning has been expanded south to include York, Red Line, Winterstown, East Berlin, New Oxford, Hanover, down to Littlestown. This is bordering right up along Gettysburg. We still have our severe thunderstorm warning here for areas in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. And our big thing here is flash flood emergency. Catastrophic flash flooding ongoing and expected to continue for the next 4 hours. This is dire. Do I have the ability to show rain totals? So again, there's like 100,000 plus Amish people in this area. We do have precipitation accumulation. Here's 1 hour precipitation accumulation. And here's our storm total. That's what's really going to matter. So this is why you have your flash flood emergency. We are looking at 6 inches of rain have already fallen in some of the northern areas of this warning, estimated based on radar. Let me make sure this is set to miles an hour, actually. I don't think it is. Okay. And your 1 hour accumulations are also concerning here in Clay. You've had an inch and a half of rain in an hour. If we go into areas that aren't in our flash flood emergency, they've also had an inch and a half of rain. This is what's especially concerning to me, is we're looking at areas that are probably going to get an additional 2 to 4 inches in our flash flood emergency. That is catastrophic. That is incredibly bad. I know, personally, I've been in a number of flash flood warnings. If you're not in a low-lying area, you don't have to do much. This isn't that. This is, if you're in a flood-prone area or not, you need to get to higher ground now. I really want to stress that. You have to get to higher ground. No ifs, ands, or buts. This isn't something you can accidentally survive. You're going to have to evacuate. And again, this flash flood emergency is right along the Delaware River. So if you're in that Delaware River area or any of the many creeks and streams that branch off it, whatever river runs through Lancaster, I don't remember off the top of my head, this is catastrophic. Incredibly catastrophic, honestly. My word. So again, this is training rain. Training rain. We do have a new flash flood warning for central Illinois. We're not going to check it out because it's not of concern at the moment. I'm reposting a video from Mitchell Cocaine. I hope that's his real name. Mitchell Cocaine? I don't know. But I just reposted a video on Great Lakes WX Tracking on Twitter. That's at GLWX Tracking on Twitter, of the catastrophic flash flooding in progress near Mountsville, just outside of the Lancaster area. This is catastrophic flooding in progress, ongoing. There's no other way to say it. So again, repeating. All right. Repeating, we have a flash flood emergency ongoing for portions of Lancaster County in Pennsylvania. For 6 inches of rain have already fallen. We're looking at potentially another 4+ inches of rain coming up here. To show you how high-end this is, let's go to mesoanalysis. This is a very useful tool from the Storm Prediction Center that doesn't want to work for me for some reason. We also have a severe risk for this area tomorrow. We might get into that later in the stream if the flash flood threat dies down a bit. I always turn surface maps. Here's your precipitable water values. So we made a mesoscale discussion about 30 minutes ago. 2.2 inch PWatt here in Southeast Pennsylvania. This is high. This is high PWatt. Anything above 2 inch PWatt is abnormally high. 1 inch PWatt is around inch and a half PWatt is around average. So this is well above average. Well above average precipitable water values. Here is that with your transport vectors, which is just showing the direction that this is moving, and you can see we have more moisture coming up into Southeast Pennsylvania. And this is just wild. This is our precipitation potential placement. It's around 12. So I know that doesn't mean anything to most of you. This is like a very high-end environment. If you're ever looking at one of those Oklahoma days where like the STP is 40, but nothing happens, we're seeing something happen. Here's your upwind propagation vector. You can see that's just wow. And your mixing ratios are also very high in this area. So this is just a primed environment for catastrophic flash flooding. And it's perfectly mixed. 72 over 72, 77 over 75. This is a very saturated environment, and we have very high CAPE. Here's your surface-based CAPE. You can see it's up. Actually, let's check out mix later. Yeah, that's better. So you can see our storms are making a dent in the CAPE. This is still 1,000 to 2,000 CAPE. But again, I mean, this is perfectly saturated. 72 temperature, 72 dew point. 75 over 72, 73 over 72. It is very, very, very moist ahead of this, again, catastrophic flash flooding. I believe we've just had a flash flood warning extended northeast. Correct me if I'm wrong. 11:20. So yeah, that would have just been issued. New flash flood warning that includes Womelsdorf, Burnville, Bethel, Shoemakersville, Kutztown, Fleetwood, Laurendale, Oli, Wyomissing. I hope I'm saying that right. Birdsboro, Pottstown, Boyerstown, Hereford, and Albany in Pennsylvania. I also wouldn't be shocked if we see a flash flood warning issued for Williamstown and Tremont. We have flash flood warnings from the Maryland border up to Mexico. And again, we are seeing some more heavy rainfall starting to work its way through our flash flood emergency in the Lancaster area. This is a very bad situation. We're seeing another Boeing segment developing here in Hanover and East Berlin. I mean, wow. Just wow. One thing I will say, especially in the Lancaster area, this has very poor drainage because it's an urban area. We're looking at two very distinct issues. Incredibly poor drainage, ignore that. In the more urban areas, Lancaster, East Petersburg, Eden, Millersville, and then up north, we're looking at the Amish who just don't know this is happening. They aren't plugged into the internet. They got nothing but their eyes. It's a very dangerous situation unfolding in our flash flood emergency. I will be back in a minute. I need to go sort something out real quick. Okay, we are back. Catastrophic flooding continues in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Thank you to Angel Riley for chatting. I don't think she's still watching, but thanks for tuning in. So again, this is fairly unprecedented. I don't think there's ever been a flash flood emergency for this area. Our severe thunderstorm warning has been trimmed down a bit. The most severe segment is our Bowen segment moving through in Lancaster right now through our flash flood emergency area. We have a severe risk tomorrow. If this convection remains strong to severe, it could kind of destroy any severe risk in this area, but we could end up with a higher echelon event. I've seen some people calling for an enhanced. It looks like we just got a new mesoscale precipitation discussion from the Weather Prediction Center. Not at all surprised by that. It is not yet generating on the Weather Prediction Center site. Bear with me. Okay, here we go. So the graphic hasn't loaded yet, but here we go. For southern and southeastern Pennsylvania and vicinity, flash flooding likely, heavy rainfall. Additional flash flood impacts are possible as deep, moist convection migrates from west-southwest to east-northeast across the region. Over time, nocturnal low-level stabilization should result in lesser coverage of storms through 7Z. 7Z is about 3 a.m. Eastern. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to be live stream until 3 a.m. I did not mean to press that button. Yeah, I'm not going to be live until 3 a.m. I will try and be live as long as I can be, but I have things to do tomorrow, and I want to be up at 9. I don't want to get 6 hours sleep. Flash flood potential continues across the discussion area with significant impacts noted in and near Lancaster County. The region remains under the influence of weak mid-level shortwave troughs passing over the region. These troughs are interacting with a very moist, unstable air mass with 2+ inch PWatt values and 1,000 joule kilogram MLK. That's what I was showing you earlier on mesoanalysis. This was especially before the second round of severe thunderstorms moved through. This was a very primed environment in terms of CAPE. That PWatt still remains high, over 2 inches across the area. Some of these storms were training with 1 to 2 inch an hour rain rates falling near Lancaster, Reading, and surrounding locales on top of saturated grounds that have already experienced 2 to 6 inches of rain today. Locally significant flash flood impacts are expected to continue in the short term through 5 to 6Z, which should be through 1 to 2 in the morning. Over time, nocturnal boundary layer stabilization, which is just the nighttime boundary moving through, stabilizing should result in a decrease in convective coverage across the area. However, low-level flow into the discussion area remains strong, and a pool of 2,000 joule a kilogram MLK resides over Maryland. That's what I'm especially concerned about. I'm growing more and more concerned as this kind of becomes a complex for extreme southeast PA into Maryland and Delaware, because I think we have some more stuff bubbling up in Maryland right now, and this area is getting really favorable conditions for some potentially catastrophic flash flooding. Is this a better radar site to use? I don't know. Are these beach hazard statements? I reckon they are. We have a number of flash flood warnings throughout the region, but only one flash flood emergency for Lancaster County. We now have a hurricane. Okay. We have Hurricane Flossie in the Eastern Pacific. I'm not going to hone in on it, but if those of you who care about the tropics, I sure do. And we have an unwarned tornado in Tennessee. Okay. It's just an active day for weather. Velvet cuts, too. Multiple water rescues have been reported and are ongoing across northern Lancaster and southern Lebanon counties. Smaller streams and creeks have overflowed their banks. Flash flooding was always the biggest concern today and tonight. Hashtag be safe. That's from MU Weather Center, Millersville University in Millersville, Pennsylvania. If anyone is watching this, I don't know if you are, but if you are, we are covering catastrophic flash flooding ongoing in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, where a flash flood emergency has been issued. I know I haven't really been live that long. I've been live like 35 minutes. But once this next storm moves out of the Lancaster area, I might wrap it up because I need to go to bed. I'm employed. That kind of thing. We definitely have a tornado ongoing in Tennessee. That's beside the point, though. This is, again, very destructive flash flooding. Probably the worst flash flooding we've seen anywhere in the U.S. since Kentucky back in February, if you remember that. Or actually, I think West Virginia had a February event that was pretty bad too. This is comparable to those flash flooding event we had in West Virginia earlier this month in June. We're about to enter July in about 20 minutes here. The sound of eating annoys you, then I'm sorry, but I was working today, so I didn't have time to eat much. So I'm just going to snack on some cherries here, if you don't mind. So again, we have catastrophic flooding ongoing in our flash flood emergency. We're about to enter another lull. If you're in Mount Low, Elizabethtown, Columbia, this ain't it. We have another segment of flash flooding coming up from Maryland, from the York area. If it gets bad enough here, we may honestly see them push the flash flood emergency further southeast or even issue a new one. Let's check out our storm total precip. Is this satellite? What the hell? Whatever, it'll do. So again, I mean, we may see them just push this up here, where we've had a few inches of rain today. But down here, they've drawn this warning pretty well, I will say. We are still looking at just catastrophic flash flooding and flash flooding impacts continuing. With this just heavy, heavy rain. If you are in this area, you need to seek higher ground. I know normally you're used to, like me saying, seek shelter now when we're talking about tornadoes, severe thunderstorm warnings. You need to seek high ground. We have some new, ignore that, it's my dishwasher. We have some new flash flood warnings in Illinois. That includes Newton, Oblong, St. Marie, Robinson, Flat Rock. Move immediately to higher ground. Avoid walking or driving through floodwaters. It is dangerous. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Lancaster, Ephrata, and Lidditz until 12:15 in the morning. So, continuation of our previous warning. Yeah. We are really seeing some heavy rainfall out of this next segment coming up here. So, folks, it's not over. You're 2/3 of the way through. You've got one more salvo of this incredibly heavy and destructive rainfall before you can finally call it quits. The Lebanon This is broader, like I said, not a flash flood emergency, but a PDS flash flood warning has been issued for some of the northern areas here. Hershey, all the way up to Harrisburg, Middletown, Lebanon, Jonestown, Myerstown. This is now considerable. So, in essence, it's a PDS. So, ignore the interruption. This is a PDS. PDS flash flood warning. It is considerable. So think of it this way. I know it might be a little confusing. If you know how tornado warnings work, this is a tornado emergency. Not a tornado. It's a flash flood emergency. But like, if this were tornadoes, this would be a tornado emergency. But if you're in Lebanon, Hershey, Middletown, up to Harrisburg, you are in a tornado PDS. I was freshly upgraded recently. We do have reports of thunderstorm wind damage from the Landisville area. That'd be right around here, just south of East Petersburg. So yeah, this is very dangerous flash flooding. And then we have some more, just a string of flash flood warnings in Illinois. That'll eventually move into Indiana. New severe thunderstorm warning has been expanded east. This now includes Westchester, Limerick, Skippack, East Nantmeal, Wallace, Coatesville, Lineville, Malvern, all the way up to Limerick, Skippack, Salford, Rail Hill, East Greenville, Boyertown, New Hanover, Birdsboro, and why I still don't know how to pronounce that name. I'm very good with town name pronunciations, but I think that's Wyomissing. That sounds corny. I don't know how to describe it. We have flash flood emergency continues for Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. But after this next segment moves through, I think I'm going to call it quits. Because believe it or not, I do have a life outside of the weather. This is our first live stream in 11 days. Our last live stream was that random PDS tornado in the Philadelphia metro. Honestly, I might call it quits here. It's been a long day. Yeah, you know what? We will continue updating you on Twitter, but I have things to do tomorrow, and I should probably be asleep right now. So, let's cap this off. If you are in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, this is a flash flood emergency. This is an extremely dangerous situation. This isn't particularly dangerous. This is extremely dangerous. This is probably once in a generation. I think they got it really bad during Agnes. It's probably, if you're talking to an old timer, if you're talking to a geezer out there in Clay, and you're asking when's the last time it flooded like this, they might say Agnes, back in 1972. This is a once and twice in a generation type of flash flooding. And we have even more to come as that segment out there in Mount Pleasant and York works its way northeast. Especially if you're in the Lancaster area, this is just continuous heavy rainfall. You haven't really gotten much drizzle. It's just been a continuous multi-hour stream of heavy to moderate rain. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue. Eventually, those will go to Philadelphia metro. And again, this is just catastrophic flash flooding in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Stay safe if you're in the flash flood emergency or the PDS flash flood warning to the north. Seek higher ground. Okay, this isn't something to screw around with. Clear, from Harrisburg to Lancaster. If you're in that corridor, and then Lancaster to Adamstown to Jonestown, you should be seeking higher ground. These other flash flood warnings, you need to monitor the situation, but you aren't in nearly as much active peril as this area, especially along the Delaware River here. It's probably going to get very bad. Even downstream, we might see some river flood warnings issued down towards Drumore and Post Deposit, as all of this, 6 to 10 inches of rain is just gonna have to come down somewhere. Ignore my YouTube notifications. Do I say my name? I'm not going to say my name. This is GLWX signing off.